Hello! In the previous masterclass, I promised to show you how to weave handles for rectangular and square trays and boxes. Because the item itself is rectangular, I've decided to make handles rectangular as well, in order to make the item look balanced. Well, actually, you can weave handles like these for rectangular items. I mean, the handles don't necessarily have to be rectangular. The weaving techniques in both cases are quite similar. But I find rectangular handles to look more harmonious on rectangular items. That's why today I'm going to show you how to weave rectangular handles. In the previous tutorials, we've already discussed how to weave square and rectangular items. Those who missed them can watch them over again. Now I'm approaching the point where I'm supposed to start weaving a handle. I've counted that I've got 19 loops at one side. And divided it into 3 approximately identical parts. Here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've marked the 6th loop here and there. And I've marked the opposite side in the same very way. So I've used the closing clips as marks in order to make the handle symmetrical. And additionally, I've prepared 2 such workpieces. In my case, a workpiece consists of a short tail, then about 3 centimeters, 1 1/4 of an inch, 11 centimeters, 4 1/3 of an inch, and again 3 centimeters and a short tail. I don't put any wire inside. If you'd like your handles to be more rigid, you can put a piece of wire into the tube. But I did try it on one of the items and realized that there is not much point in it. After you prime and varnish the item, the handles will become strong enough. Besides, the external layer of weaving will be tight enough, so I leave it this way. I drop some glue onto this workpiece, Universal Polymeric Adhesive Dragon. I glue short tails from both sides and tuck them into the marked loop. 1 or even 2 neighboring loops. And from the opposite side as well. After having placed the workpiece, I adjust the tube of the base to it, shaping the angles in the same very way. And start working, entwining the handle. Reach the handle, and start wrapping it like this, leaving the intervals for the loops. Lengthen the tube and continue wrapping the handle. So, perform the wrapping. When you have to lengthen the tube, fasten it with a closing clip, lengthen and continue. Finish the wrapping. Here I continue the normal weaving, carefully, smoothen the handle and continue. I've woven the first row of the handle. After this I weave the row in a normal root weaving technique. Continue until you reach the opposite side, and weave the first row of the second handle in the same way. So I've reached the opposite side. Let's repeat once again the way I shaped the handle. I tuck the workpiece into the marked loops. Fasten it with glue. This way, carefully, and place the tube of the base along the workpiece. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can fasten it in order to make the working process easier. Now when I've got the contours marked, continue weaving. Lead the working tube through the corner loop and start wrapping the handle, leaving the intervals for further loops, and continue. So I've reached the handle again. Now I have to weave the second row. In the same way, I hug the handle with the tube of the base, trying to keep the right angle. I weave the second row of the handle without decreasing the number of loops at the corners. This very row is rather hard to weave, because you have to lead the working tube through the gaps. That's why I've used a toothpick. Let's take a look. Our task here is to shape an angle. Continue weaving. It is reasonable to use a toothpick in troublesome points like this. The second row of the handle is rather problematic due to small gaps. So it is easier to work with a toothpick. Lengthen the tube and shape the second angle. Now it depends. If I just shape an angle like this, I'll get a gap too big. That's why I shape a full angle. One loop here, and the second loop goes this way. So I've shaped the angle. In the current row I don't reduce the number of loops in the internal corner. In the next row I'm going to miss one loop. That's all. Lengthen and continue weaving until the third row of the handle, when the picture will become clearer. I've reached the third row. It is where I start weaving the internal corner in a traditional way. Take a look, please. I leave one loop unengaged, leading the working tube through the next loop. This way I reduce the number of loops in the internal corner, at the same time increasing the number of loops at the external one. Once again. Reach the corner, shape an angle, one loop here, the next loop on the top. I've got the angle shaped, continue weaving until the next corner. I mean, here I remove one loop, while here I add one loop. Let me show you the process once again on the example of this corner. The first loop goes here, shape an angle, the next loop here, this way. Now let this loop pass and lead a tube through the next one. This way I ignore one loop at the opposite corners, which makes the weaving symmetric. So I wove in one more row. In the same way you weave one or two rows more, depending on how wide you'd like the handle to be. Well, I'm going to weave two more rows, cause my basket is rather massive, so narrow handles would look unbalanced. So I've finished weaving the handle. The only thing left is to perform either finishing or wrapping of the last row. It is the way I call it. I've got no tube of the base anymore. It is over, so I've tucked it under the loop. Now all I need to do is just wrap the last row. Let me remind you how to do it. Here I check the intervals between the loops. Here I can make one more coil, so I perform it. One coil here. And one coil here. Depending on the intervals between the loops, I make either one or two coils. The main thing is to fill all the gaps between the tubes. I prefer finishing the edge this way instead of just leaving it like this. It seems to look unfinished like this. So I continue finishing the whole row this way until the end. after which I'm going to finish the internal perimeter of the handle as well. I've finished the wrapping. Now wrap the internal part of the handle in the same way. Wrap the whole handle along the perimeter. As a result, you'll get the handle wrapped like this. Afterwards, I'll tuck the tails under the loops and the work will be completed. The only thing left will be painting the cracks and shabby points and coating the work with primer and varnish. Let me draw your attention to the handles once again. They can be of different size. I've tried various options. This is the one I've chosen optimal. Make sure a hand passes through the handle easily. The first handle was like this. Well, maybe this first attempt was not perfectly smooth, but actually it is rather comfortable to hold anyway. This tray has been made to fit into a particular interior design. Here I've decided to try and make the handles bigger. As you can see, the size can vary. As an option, you can make a handle like this. In this case, you have to make a workpiece a bit differently. I cut the ends off like this. Soften the tube carefully to make it flexible, or you can use a piece of wire. Bend the tails, which you are going to glue. Fasten the workpiece shaped like this to the item and continue weaving. The principle is identical, just the handle has a different shape, which is a viable option as well. Any ideas and experiments are welcome.